Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CapesCast podcast. My name is Ryan,
I'm Jeremy.
and here today we're going to talk about this week's G.O.D.S book that came out last week, actually, and a couple of this week's comics.
Mhm.
Um, to start off, man, how'd you like G.O.D.S? First off,
Uh, I mean, we're both fans of Hickman. You know,
yeah, absolutely,
I'll just start off by saying I think we're probably in for what's going to be very long form and very much
right,
a dive into who these characters are, what connections they have to the greater Marvel universe. Hopefully, where they've been and what they've been doing, because there are a lot of things that they should have had a hand in, you know, like Secret Wars, for example. That was a pretty big thing for the Marvel Universe. So why they were absent, other than they weren't created yet, we don't know.
right,
So maybe we'll get some of that. But as far as God's number one, it was solid. It was a pretty
yeah,
straightforward issue. It's got a beginning, middle, and end for a lot of people that are leery about getting into a new Hickman story and all these new characters. He does a good job of setting up the main cast and, telling a full and complete story and still leaving us wanting more, I guess.
right. I loved it. It's full of Hickmanisms, which I was excited for. We have a character that's in all white. We have,
Right.
and not only that, we're seeing Hickman kind of play with his favorite toys a little bit in the background. I'm loving it. I think this is really cool. I like other Hickman stuff. I had to read it twice just because I feel like there's so much you could just miss because you're trying to grasp one idea while he's throwing another one at you, and you can get lost. But yeah, man. All right, let's get into what happened here because it's kind of cool how they're setting up a whole new Marvel cosmology here, and especially with the idea of when a new character or new-ish character who is the avatar of the powers that be, right?
I believe that's what he is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I believe it's Aiko who is the order of things.
Yeah, she's
He's part of the order of things.
the Centaurum or whatever they're called.
Right,
The
right.
national order of things, right. But yeah, it kind of kicks off with that was it that free comic book day preview we got in the summer
Right.
where Doctor Strange and Wynn having like their quick conversation of this war of good and evil's been going on for so long, and like who knows who's good anymore, who knows who's bad. So it's kind of this like ideology of like we keep fighting this fight and nothing really changes.
Right.
So they're all tired of it. They're all just like waiting for something like new to happen, I guess.
Right.
Um, but we get a little bit of backstory between Win and Aiko. They were married, or they are married, at least at this point in the issue. And Win has got his buddy who is he's also with the natural order of things, right?
Yeah, Dimitri, correct? That's
Yeah,
a kind of
yeah.
reminds me of like forgot the dude's name, but like kind of like the assistant from Doctor Who or something like that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
he
Like,
just seemed like kind of like Doctor Who-ish.
yeah,
I'm not the best person when it comes to I don't really know a lot about
me
Doctor Who, but
neither. But it
seeing a
made me
couple
think of
episodes, yeah, like
that.
it had like very like whimsical, like silly, like the dialogue kind of seemed like that. It was fun, you know.
But I mean, I could totally. I mean, when we get into it more, Win is totally a analog of John Constantine, and it's
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
but yeah. So we kind of get a little bit of backstory on who Win is, on who Aiko is, and who Dimitri is, and what their role in the universe is, I guess.
Right.
And they start off Dimitri and Win. They stop the summoning of a demon. It looks like, right?
Yes. It's basically like they have this eyes wide shut type party, right? And they kind of just sacrifice somebody, and somebody dies. To
To bring this demon forth, right?
right, right,
And then, I mean, meanwhile, we have Aiko, who is like having this conversation with a bartender. She's waiting on her husband. At this point, we don't know that it's Win, but it's heavily implied. Because we don't really see them together yet. She's just talking about her husband and all this.
mm,
And what's interesting, the bar she's at is Brevort's.
right.
There's Tom Brevoort, who's
Right.
just took over the X-Men
Yeah.
editorial. So
I think it's pretty funny that they kind of named that after him.
yeah. So then we jump back to Win and Dimitri. They're fighting this Damon, and then we finally circle back around to Aiko in the bar, and who walks in? Win and Dimitri. You
Mm,
know, we learn that Win and Aiko are married, and she's been offered this job to work for the natural order of things, which puts her in like direct conflict with him because he's the avatar of the powers that be.
right.
So she doesn't want to give up the job, but she also doesn't want to give up her marriage. So she's kind of like having to make this big decision. And if he doesn't agree to a divorce, she has to kill
Mm,
him.
yeah.
So it's like part of the gig, and she's already accepted, is what it sounds like, you know.
Right.
So then she does just that, and then we get a pretty big time jump, 10 years into to the present, and he's approaching Doctor Strange. I'll let you get into this part because it's pretty heavy with Hickman stuff. So like when they
Like,
go Strange and they go to the Library of Worlds.
yeah, that was pretty cool that they added the whole Library of Worlds thing. But I mean, that's pretty much where we get kind of to the meat of what Hickman's setting up here. Is what's really cool too is we see his favorite toys in this scene. We see Doctor Doom, we see Reed, Doctor Strange. Who else is there? But I
Uh,
don't know. Pretty much, if you read a Hickman story and his favorite characters are in it.
Black Panther's there,
Yeah,
Fantastic, they're all there.
yeah, and pretty much they're pretty much finding out that there's this thing called a Babylon event that's happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, we really don't get a clear definition, even by the end of the comic, exactly what it is. All we know is that it's bad. It's being summoned.
Yeah.
Um, in any case, what's really cool about this here is it kind of reminds me of Hickman going to the incursion thing. He's kind of just making this whole thing Babylon event type deal.
Yeah.
And
I had a question about the Library of Worlds. I
yeah,
thought I thought they didn't know where it was.
I thought that was the case too. But the way
So
it was implied was that, like,
now they have that's like a meeting room. Did Doctor Strange find it? Like, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. The way I kind of took it was like only you have to be at a certain alumni of magic knowledge, whatever, or knowledge in general. Only the smartest people, I guess, in the
Yeah,
Marvel.
you have to have like some greater like cosmic.
Right, because we don't see like the entire Illuminati there or anything, but we
Yeah,
do see
right,
like we see the Sorcerer Supreme and the Sorcerer Supreme under him and
right.
Doom, and so I don't know. I think it's cool because I remember we were talking about that. What was going on with the Library of Worlds? We are like, where did that go, and who's going to use that? So I think it's really cool that we're getting Hickman here to
Yeah,
kind of
and I'm
pull
sure
that
he'll
out.
explain how they found it or how it's easily accessible now because like that was like a pretty big thing like when if I'm not mistaken right like during like the whole Black Priests and the Black Swans
Yeah,
like yeah I don't know it's cool though I'm glad to see it back we'll see what happens.
right. I mean, does Win go into a specific way of how he kind of tries to explain what's happening with the Babylon event?
I think so. It looks like Strange is the one that's talking about it because
Right,
at least the way that I understand it, these Babylon events are like trying to summon like these elder gods or these Babylon gods,
right,
confused with some of Marvel's other elder gods. But
right.
like so we don't really know because the story we don't know yet. But the guy whoever it is, Cubist Core, who's a proto mage,
Yeah,
and he's stolen the staff of the Living Tribunal. So
yes, which
he's
is
got a very
definitely an issue. Which is
yeah, he's got a
definitely
very
an issue.
powerful magical artifact in his possession.
Right. I mean, this is the multiversal judge of everything, and he's got a staff, and so pretty much what's pretty much implied by this is anything this guy makes in this is pretty much set in stone. It can't be undone by any
Right.
means. It'll
Right.
be, like even the staff itself basically can't undo what it does, is basically what's implied. So Cubist Core taking this, it's pretty much a big issue.
Right.
So
That's
at this point, doesn't Win kind of get he has some artifacts here and he kind of goes on a few fetch quests to kind of get what he needs to take on Cubiscore.
yeah, and so it's funny because everybody gets primed and ready to go, and he kind of just takes off, you
Right.
know, and every And even Dimitri's like, "What are you doing, man? Like, this is the end of the world. Like, we have to go help them." And he's like, "It's fine." He's like, "Just pick up this penny, you know?"
Right.
And
And
then
it's
things start.
John Wilkes Booth
Yeah,
penny. It's from a universe where that happened, where it's not Abraham Lincoln, it's John Wilkes Booth.
right.
So of course this is a rare occurrence. So he finds it to be a rare artifact, which he plans on giving to the like a collector. Is that like
Yeah,
she basically
to the collector. Yeah,
yeah, the collector. And so he goes to her and he ends up getting what is it, a book? And
the clock was
yeah,
six.
the
Has
clock. Yeah, he got the clock, and then he goes and gives that to a Buddha-like figure. So you're kind of seeing him interact with these other gods, not like
yeah,
not like the Marvel pantheon gods, but actual like Buddha.
yeah, because they're he's really diving into the elders of the
Yeah,
universe. Like, I mean, we don't see the Grand Master, but we see the collector. We see the contemplator. We even see like the possessor, and that's who's next on his stop. But like we see a lot of those like higher tier like cosmic characters that we don't see a lot of, I guess.
right,
Other than in like the most usual uses of them, like in
right,
Guardian, whatever.
right.
But
And it's Dimitri basically kind of asks about this book that Wynn ends up getting, and by the end of it, we don't really know what it does because it basically says what it does, but Wynn kind of cuts it off because he doesn't. He's got a trick up his sleeve with it. Yeah, and basically they go and they interact with Cubis Core, and Wynn makes a big deal out of dropping this book, this all-powerful book that he's been hyping up this whole time, only to have Cubis Core open it up and have his mind being eaten, basically.
right.
And after that, it's kind of a like a we don't really does it kill him or does it just kind of leave him like a vegetable?
We don't really know
Yeah,
because it it almost appears like it's been time looped.
right. Yeah,
Like the Babylon event was prevented, so and I feel like there was something in here where he even said like um where is it? I could have sworn that at some point he picked up an artifact or there was like a mention of something that allowed him to go back to that point, like a perfect point in time,
right.
which maybe that was him being able to go in and stop Cubis Core right there at the end. I'm not
Exactly.
sure. But
It basically put him to where he needed to be to save everything. Like not the moment that he wanted to be in, but the moment that he needed to be in to be able to.
yeah. So I wonder if a side effect of a Babylon event is it didn't happen.
Right.
Like if they've stopped it or whatever magical artifact or a bit power that they had to use, it's as if it did as though it didn't happen.
Hmm.
Because if that's the case and they're using like some kind of like reality warping or rewriting stuff, that could easily explain a why they've never had a hand in anything.
Right. Why we haven't seen Win or anything like that. Yeah.
Yes. And it's for characters like Doctor Strange, it would make sense for him to have that greater knowledge.
Yeah. That's totally a Hickman thing. I feel like that's totally on brand for
I don't
Hickman.
know. It's cool. Like I
Yeah.
said, it felt very complete. We got an introduction to the main cast, to like a villain, who
Right.
was kind of like a villain of the week. He had a powerful magical artifact. He was a mage. That's very akin to the other characters that are there. We kind of get a little bit of like explanation of who some of the other characters are for the natural or the natural order of things or the powers that be. Like we're kind of getting a little bit at a time,
Right.
which I think is cool.
Yeah, it like I said, it kind of reminds me of like the old Vertigo days where you kind of
Yeah,
had like the DC down here and then you had like the Vertigo stuff up here with like the Hellblazer and all that.
right.
And I feel like that's kind of what Hickman's doing here. And not even I mean, totally the whole trickery with the book was totally John Constantine-esque. It was,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I feel like he's had like a Hellblazer story in his pocket that he's just like, you know what? I probably will never do it. So let me just do
I'll
it
do
here.
it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Um what do you think this means overall? Like what do you think it's just marriage is back on for Aiko and Win after
Oh
even
yeah,
after he
because the
shot.
end after that time loop or whatever, she ends up kissing him, you know.
Right.
So
So it's kind of like all undone and
I don't know. It's kind of weird. I wonder if because of how events played out, maybe the natural order of things and the powers that be are maybe like on a little better terms.
right.
And they're willing to like accept the fact that, hey, maybe if we work together, certain things can be prevented. I don't know.
Right.
And I'm sure it'll have the twists and the turns and the betrayal and the this and the that Hickman does best. So it'll be cool. We
Yeah.
just have to wait for it to be cool. I mean, it's cool
Yeah,
now.
because I don't even know where we're even like I don't really even have too many unanswered questions just because this felt like a full story from
Yeah.
most of the stuff got answered, which is kind of weird for Hickman because he likes to leave more seeds than answers, So
I feel like if you look for them, they're there.
yeah, for
But
sure. It's like
like
Ultimate Invasion's just it's just like a garden of just seeds that have been planted with
yeah,
not really
right.
anything coming out of it.
Right. But this was just kind of like an exploration of the main cast to like to familiarize us with them, show us what their powers are, kind of what
Right.
their gimmick is. So it's cool. I liked it. It's something new and different. So
Right.
what more could I ask for?
Yeah, and it's good to see like Hickman and Skeety working together again, like
There's
I
some good
love
stuff.
their Avengers stuff together, so
Yeah, it's solid. Uh,
yeah.
so like what do you think of some of the characters?
I'm pretty excited because I think I'm really loving the banter between Win and Dimitri. I'm loving that kind of dynamic there because he's kind of like I said, kind of like an annoying, like he's like an Alfred in a way, but he's more of a kind of like a Jimmy Olsen. It's like I guess like you would say like his like Win's Jimmy.
Yeah,
And
and he's always just like picking on him, man. And I think it's so funny. Like
yeah,
you just want to look cool in front of your friends.
yeah. And I love the sense of humor of Win too. There's a couple
Yeah.
times too where you see those multiple shots of like Win giving side eyes to people, and it's he
Yeah,
gets a joke. He's pretty funny.
and I guess that it's nice that you have an artist who can like do that
Yeah,
because some artists can't. So like when he can do like the funny expressions or like the side eyes and he can like when you can like visually like tell things between the characters or like do their relationship on the panel rather than through words,
right.
it's better.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's Skeety for you though. I mean, I feel like Hickman and him like they could just. It's like probably just easy work for them at this point because they could just
yeah,
play with each other so well. Uh,
exactly.
I I I'm loving the idea. I want to learn more about. I guess the biggest question is what does being the avatar of the powers that be actually mean? We don't
Right.
really
And who are they? Who are the powers that be? What is it? And same
right
goes to order
because
of
the
things.
way it was implied to me was that he was like the only one. That's the way it was like,
And
implied in the book.
he is. He is.
But it seems like the natural order of things. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
Like
there's
it was just one.
I think there's 50 Centaur or whatever they're called. There's 50 of them, you know.
Right.
Aiko even met like references, like she's like has like a tag on her hip or something that says I'm 37 or 36 or whatever.
Right. So it's
So
like, what does that mean? And to the dynamic of one and all of them, like I
right.
don't know. I'm pretty excited to see it, especially to see if Win does answer to somebody. If
Right.
what does the avatar of the powers that be like answer to? Like we didn't
Right.
get that.
Well, I mean,
Because Dimitri got to check up with. It actually kind of reminds me now that I think about it. It reminds me more of like a Beerus and Wheeze kind of thing, like from like
yeah,
Dragon Ball, where you got like that servant dude who's pretty much like the more knowledgeable, smart guy that's helping you out.
yeah.
I just don't know because I feel like he's introducing. We got Al Ewing kind of rewriting like the Marvel cosmology as we know it, and now we got Hickman building on top of that.
Like layering a new one on top of that one.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So,
I love we you and I both really like the higher cosmic concepts in Marvel.
right.
So it's kind of cool that it's almost like if this is like our chance to be like, hey, this is like the cool stuff that we like because it's everywhere right now.
Right.
So and a lot of people don't like it, and that's okay. But It's good stuff. It's cool. It's interesting. It's not the normal superhero like beat 'em up stuff. It's very like thought provoking, or it can be like existential sometimes.
Right.
I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of the people who don't like it just aren't used to Hickman.
right.
I think a lot of people were turned off with the 9.99 price tag.
Yeah, that was definitely a big one.
Yeah,
That yeah.
that's I think it wasn't worth it. I do. I
Yeah, I feel like I mean we got our money's worth. You and I
yeah,
did at least. But like I can understand why some people wouldn't be happy with it because they don't there was really nothing for them other than like Doctor Strange to be interested in
right.
if you're not a Hickman fan already.
Yeah.
So
And it makes me wonder, like I know that newer issues are going to be cheaper, but I mean if anybody watching this is excited about it but eager about that price tag, just wait for the trade. It's probably all going to be collecting. It's going to be
I
cheap.
mean, or wait for Marvel Unlimited when it'll probably be on there here soon in the
Yeah.
next months or so. So just wait
Right.
till it's on Marvel Unlimited and give it a shot. You know, it's
Yeah.
because you're gonna pay $10 for Marvel Unlimited anyway if you're not already, and you're gonna read that issue and probably a couple other. You know, you'll get your money's worth if at least if you do Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah. Of course.
You know, but you want to talk about books for today? I guess that come out
Yeah,
today.
man. Let's see. What are you getting this week? What's coming
Uh,
out for you that you're excited about?
over my pool list. So I'm gonna have Batman City of Madness.
Oh,
You
dude.
know,
Yeah.
World's Finest Teen Titans. I'm gonna have Bloodborne the Bleak Dominion, Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy, The Avengers, Venom, and X-Men Red. Oh, and the Hunger and Dusk, the
Oh
IDW.
yeah, yeah. I need to get that trade, by the way. I've been reading it though on like online. Every issue comes out. It's really good.
And then I think I have one more. Oh, The Call. I think I'm gonna read that, but we'll see.
Okay.
Clay Thompson one. We'll see. What
Yeah,
about you?
man. City of Madness. I'm really excited for that. Christian Ward. I've been loving pretty much everything he's been up to. Aquaman Andromeda, his latest or his Black Label book before this one was awesome. He's very good with these Lovecraftian
Yeah,
ideas, and I love his colors. He always does this like purplish pink color that's in everything that he does. It's
yeah.
just, he has really cool dynamic colors. Teen Titans World's Finest, I'm getting that as well. Mark Wade can't miss. Let me hold on. I gotta get my phone to see my here. It's let's see. So yeah, I got Green Lantern. Got
Oh
that.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about Green Lantern. I'll have to get that.
Yeah, gonna be cool to see Hal and Barry.
Hmm.
We got Avengers. Believe it's the final for this arc. So if you're the trade
Yeah,
should be out soon for this if you're missing out.
it's been really good, so I recommend it to everybody.
We have Batman and Robin #2, Joshua Williamson, Simone DeMio,
Yeah.
and new character alert. We're getting Shush.
Oh
Hush,
yeah.
yeah, Hush's daughter, Shush. Um, World's Finest Teen Titans. Mark Wade doesn't miss. I'm also getting that Superman Lost book. It's
Oh
really,
yeah.
yeah, I'm getting it for completion at this point. It's just Christopher Priest kind of doing his own thing with Superman, and I just doing some questionable things. But luckily, it's out of continuity.
It's not canon. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, so it don't really matter. I got 7 issues of it out of 10, so I might as well finish it out.
Right.
Superboy Man of Tomorrow's ending, which
Yeah,
is
it's a lot.
really good. That was a really good run. It was pretty much if you're a fan of the Supergirl story that Tom King did, this is pretty much Superboy's version of that, just going to another planet to help him out, just do what super people do.
Right.
And Superior Spider-Man's coming back, dude.
Oh
Comes
yeah.
back today. Dan Slott said it's not going to be using time travel clones, robots, nothing like that. So,
What happens, bro? I don't
yeah,
you know me.
I'm sure next week we're going to be talking, or I'll be talking
Yeah.
about
Talk
that
about it.
because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be having some issues with it, like everything Spider-Man related these days.
Spider-Man and Batman, dude, you can't catch a break.
Yeah. Then, of course, City of Madness.
Yep.
And I'm also getting Danger Street. But with this, I just kind of put it away because I want to read it all at once. So I'm just putting them away so I can read it all later. I'm getting Sandman as well, and that's about it. Uh, but I'd say the thing I'm most excited about is that Christian Ward Batman book, man.
Yeah, yeah. The art looks pretty sick, dude.
Yeah. Um,
Pretty sick.
what are you most excited about?
Uh, oh shoot, I don't even did I say my last two? Venom and X-Men Red? I did, I think.
Yeah.
Um, Bloodborne mainly.
Okay.
That's my favorite game. So
Yeah. I
it's
know
solid.
you. I know I've been seeing whenever you post about it, that's, whenever it's your book of the month or whatever, or book of the week. But I never really got into Bloodborne, so I just don't know if I can just jump into the lore
Yeah,
like that.
it's really just like for fans of the game. You
Gotcha.
know, it's nice that there's a writer that is like a horror writer in comics that's writing it, Colin Bunn.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have somebody that is probably played the game because he seems to have a pretty good knowledge of the world, and him being a comic writer helps in the
Yeah.
writing aspect of the book too. So it's
Right.
cool, and the art has been solid, although like the entire series. I think it's been the same artist since the very first volume.
Hmm.
So again, I can't ask for much more than that because it's the
Right.
same. In an age where you have rotating artists and artists that disappear off books and get hyped up on a book and then leave 5 issues in because that's all they needed the sales for, then it's nice to have an artist who's consistent on a title.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays it's very rare. That's why I appreciate Dan Mora basically doing everything he's doing for World's
Oh,
Finest.
dude. So, I mean, I guess since we're kind of wrapped up with gods and talking about our new books, I just made a purchase today.
What's that?
I just bought the eighth print for Once in Future #1.
Oh, there's an eighth print for it?
Yeah, well, it went to 8 printings, and
Wow.
so I don't know if you know the history of that book. So when it got announced, it was just announced as a 6 issue mini,
Hmm.
and then the first issue sold so well. Prior to the release of that issue, it got pushed to an ongoing, and then the first issue went through 8 printings.
Wow.
Each each printing had like a fair amount of like orders, but the final printing is like basically just a variant of the A cover, which is like Arthur holding the sword, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But instead of the sword being white, it's red, and there's like skeletons inside in the blade.
Okay.
So it's and there was less than 1,000 copies that were reportedly ordered by retailers.
Oh.
So it was like 928 or something, I think.
Oh, wow. How much was it?
So
Just like normal?
it's very, I don't know, it's very, very scarce. And so it's one of the
Nice,
rarer
dude.
covers, like a con exclusive. And it's always been like $200, 180, 150, like, and the lowest that I found it this year up until now was like $100. But then I found one, I have it on eBay, like notifications for when like new listings get put up, you know?
Yeah.
And I got a notification a couple weeks ago for one that was like $90. So I watched it and
Yeah.
I was just watching it for like weeks. And then I looked today or a couple of days ago and it was let me see what the price was. I forgot. Yeah, and then it dropped to like 63, I think is what it had dropped to.
Damn.
So I had just put it in my cart and I had forgotten about it. But then I got a notification day that the seller sent me an offer for 53.
Oh,
So or 54 or whatever, you know, like and then it told it out. I paid less than $60 for it.
right.
So it says it's very fine to near mint and they don't really have any available pictures. But for $60, like I can't really beat that. And it's been like on my top list of books to get for that series forever.
Right.
And the price tag is always like I haven't been able to justify buying like that book for those prices.
Yeah.
So it's $60. I could do that. Like that was no problem.
Right.
So I just bought that one.
That's dope, dude. Because I only have them in trade, so but if I were you, dude, I'd be looking out, seeing if you can maybe catch Gillen or Mora to sign that
I
thing,
mean,
man.
I have the rarest covers of the series already, like the rarest incentives, like some of the other variants. Like the only two I don't have are the New York Comic Con exclusives, and those are like 100 printed each.
Damn.
And it's the one with the skull and the gold crown and the black background.
Oh yeah.
And then it's the one that's the cover for like the slipcase.
Right.
And then the other one is silver. It's a silver skull with a silver crown.
Oh, good.
and those are just hella rare.
Yeah, that's way dope, dude. That's like I hear nobody really talk about that series, but that's seriously one
And
of the best.
nobody does. Like even when it was ongoing, nobody talked about it.
That's insane. I
I was
mean,
telling everybody about it. Like I told everybody in the shop about it. I told all my friends, all my friends in real life about it. I told everybody online about it, and still nobody's talking about it.
yeah. I mean, I got into it after the fact because I
Yeah,
never heard anything about it. But if you're watching this, Dan Moore is, my opinion, the best artist right now in comics, and Kieran Gillen and him just knocked that out of the park. If you like creator-owned books, you want to stay away from the superhero stuff. Also, Jeremy's the
this
guy
is
for
our
that.
this is our indie recommendation segment.
Yes, yeah. Jeremy's usually my connect to indie comics, pretty much. So it's not often I can get into them.
Yep. All right. I think that about does it for us this time.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in again. Next week or hopefully this next week we'll get it out a little bit sooner. We
Yeah.
had a couple conflicting schedule stuff, but we worked it out. It's a couple days late, but it's out there and we'll get it posted soon. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Later.